right, welcome back to the Drew Pearson Show. Now we have the honor of sitting down with the journalists that were responsible for coming back with all this tremendous footage that was able to put together to make up the movie Hornet's Nest. We're talking about Mike and Carlos Boettcher, right?
You got it.
And appreciate you guys being on the show, and just appreciate you being here on the Drew Pearson Show.
It's fantastic being here. I mean, and talking to you. I mean, I guess, yeah, that's what happens when you make a film. I should make more films.
You know, before we get in the movie, how did the father and son team come together like this?
Well, you know, I left NBC News to do my passion project, which was this. It was to go back to old traditions. If we're going to tell the stories of our men and women in uniform over there, then we have to be there with them full time, and not just parachute in for a day or two. And so I left to do this project, and my son, who grew up, I think, hating this business because it always took me away from home, he asked to join me, and you know, now that was in 2008, and 6 years later, here we sit at the Angelika with the world premiere of a film.
Wow, you know, there's a lot of father-son tandems out there, and a father might have played pro football, and the son follows in those footsteps. Is this kind of like the same thing, Carlos?
It's in that vein. I got to say that out there I had the best teacher in the whole world learning the trade from, which is my father. And it really is kind of turned into a family business. I mean, we've filed stories for ABC News together, and now we have a movie coming out together.
Right. And Mike, you have tremendous experience in this type of reporting as a journalist. And
you think I get smart and not do it.
You keep going back.
Keep going back. I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah. Was this assignment a little tougher than the previous assignments that you had?
It was, because you know, our intent was, you know, we were going to sleep where those soldiers slept and Marines slept. We were going to eat what they ate, and we were going to take the risks that they took. And it wasn't, you know, there was no place to run home to. I mean, we were there as long as they were there. And when you're going to extremes, and you know, I turned 60 years old this month, but I'm working in 140-degree heat in Helmand Province on missions that go for days, or we're, you know, fighting battles at 8,000, 9,000 feet in the Afghan mountains, and you're carrying all your gear up there. It was challenging.
Yeah,
it was challenging.
Any point where you said, "Hey, what am I doing here? It's
almost
maybe
every day.
Time to get out of here."
Almost every day.
Yeah.
But what kept us going was, you know, these men and women in uniform, these soldiers and Marines we were covering, who, you know, if they were going, I was going, and Carlos was going, and you know, we weren't going to let them down. And that's why we continued to press on and to make this film, because we said we were going to make a film, and we did. Yeah. And we hope every American sees it.
I hope so too, because it's an awesome film, and it'll give a different respect for those men that fought over there, and you guys as well, you know, for what you went through to have our freedom right here. But they're trained to do that. Army, the Marines, you know. Did you go through any training for that? You're talking about in that heat, carrying equipment, and doing what you had to do to keep up with these guys.
Well, you know, I've been doing this 34 years, so I've been in a lot of scrapes. So I learned from all of my experiences. When I'm on a battlefield these days, I'm the oldest guy on the battlefield, and usually the most experienced in war. Carlos did go through some training, right?
Before we went out, I went to NTC in the Mojave Desert, the Army Training Center. Did a fair amount of training with the military out there. But I got to tell you, you can go through all the training in the world. It doesn't prepare you for the first time you actually get out there.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I had the best teacher in the world by my side, and I also had the best protection anyone could ask for, the United States military. So I was set up to succeed.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, but there's any harrowing situations you found yourself in that you say, "Oh no, we're not going to make it"?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, at several points along the way, but you see in the film, there was a time where I thought Carlos was dead and he thought I was dead, and we were on a mountainside in what's known as the Death Pass. The Soviets lost an entire brigade up there, several thousand men, and Taliban snipers opened up on us. We were separated, and we were just with a small group of soldiers from the 101st Airborne, and we couldn't see each other. We knew that there were very good snipers who were trying to kill us, and at the end of it, you know, I'm calling out for Carlos, and finally, he got away, and I got away along with the soldiers we were with, and we managed to survive that. But those sorts of things happen with a great amount of frequency out there.
Yeah, and I guess your experience helped you there because you've been in some harrowing situations before. In El Salvador, you've been kidnapped and
Yeah.
up for execution.
Yeah.
Then roadside bombings and things of that nature. So in Baghdad, so you've been through this. Does that experience help you get through those kind of things, and especially on the mental side?
What it does is, there's not a day that I live now that I don't think is precious, because you know when you get that close to death, you don't take things for granted
Yeah.
anymore,
Yeah.
and it really it changes you in ways that are really hard to explain. But you know, the other thing that changes you too are those bonds you make with those people in battle, those soldiers and Marines you're out there with, and you know a bunch of them are going to be here tonight
Yes.
because they're our family.
Right,
You know?
right. Well, talking about bonds, you know, you and your son were trying to find something to do together to bond yourselves together and become closer with one another. Did this bring y'all together closer?
What do you think?
Well, before we went out, he told me it was a fishing trip. So
Yeah. Yeah, I said,
kinda
yeah,
got snookered
we're going to
into
go
it.
to a mountain fishing trip. Yeah.
Right.
I think my father was talking about the bonds we've developed with the soldiers, and you're going to see a bunch of them here tonight. But the same bonds that we developed with those soldiers, we developed between each other, because my father and I have faced mortars and roadside bombs and gunfire and too many things to name, and we did it together. And just looking back, sometimes we talk and we realize just how ridiculous all of it is, and how lucky we are just to be here and to have been able to do something like we did and be able to tell the story.
Right
It
on.
made us a lot closer. And
Yeah.
the really cool thing, can I tell you
Yes.
one of the really proud moments?
Yes.
is in 2012, the reporting that Carlos and I did for ABC won 2 Emmys, and it won Story of the Year. And it's the first time a father and a son had ever
Wow.
accomplished that for
Wow.
the News and Documentary Emmys.
Wow.
And I was so, I didn't care. I was just so proud that that's my son getting
Yes.
an Emmy, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it was 2 Emmys, you know? And
Yeah.
I can't even, God, the
Yeah.
smile on my face after that lasted for weeks.
Yeah, that's the epitome of what the business, right?
Yeah,
of
yeah,
what you
yeah.
can accomplish in the business.
Yeah.
And you've had one, Peabody as well.
Yeah.
And to see your son in that same level, man, it's got to make you feel proud.
It does. And, you know, the thing is, it's not just a father and a son. I feel like we're like best buddies as
Yeah.
well. And we talk several times a day. You know, he knows more about, you know, like news coverage out there than I do now, because he's in the midst of his coverage for ABC News. And it's really cool when I still get to work with him. And sometimes when I go back to Afghanistan, he can come with me. But he's in too high demand at ABC for him to
Is that
give him to
right?
me all the time.
Yes. Well, this movie, Hornet's Nest, are you happy with the end product? And I know you took tons and tons, you had tons of footage. Has it come down to what the best of what you came up with to make this movie?
Yeah, I mean, you know, how do you condense hundreds and thousands of hours of video into
Right.
90 minutes?
Yeah.
2 years of your life into 90 minutes.
Right.
And I believe that the editors and directors, David Salzberg and Christian Theroux, did a tremendous job telling the story. The storyline is, though, it's the journey of a father and son in the midst of a bunch of other fathers and sons and mothers and daughters caught up in a war. And that is the storyline. And I think through the night, you know, initially both of us, we didn't want it to be about us. We wanted it to be about them. But everyone said, it's kind of extraordinary, father and son out there doing this. You need to tell that side of the story, and the rest of the story will follow. And it works.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
I'm not a filmmaker. I'm a news guy.
Right.
But they did a great job with it. I'm proud of it. I'm proud.
Today you are a filmmaker.
But today I am a filmmaker.
Today you are a
I'm a
filmmaker.
filmmaker, yeah.
And one that is well respected, too, for the work you've done and the commitment you made to bring this to our attention so that we can get the real life version of what's going on overseas. It's just truly amazing. And to be able to do it with your son, you know, I mean, to go through that and face what you faced and come out of that and be able to sit here and talk with us about it and enjoy this premiere tonight as we watch this movie is just incredible.
Well, you're a fellow Okie, or you get half Okie
Yeah, I
status
get
since you're
half
in Tulsa,
Okie,
Okie.
right. Yeah.
But, you know, look, this is what we wanted to do with this film.
Yeah.
Connect the 99% of the American public that does not feel the pain of war with that
Oh,
less than
yeah.
1%
Amen.
that does.
Amen.
And that's what I believe we've done.
I think you've done it. All right. Mike and Carlos Boettcher.
Yeah.
Right? Got it right. Award-winning, Emmy Award-winning journalists
Yeah.
that helped create this film, and they are the stars. They made it happen. It's not a true story, but a story of what actually was depicted out there, and just a true account of what goes on. And we're really proud of you guys for what you've done, and good luck in the future. Any more assignments in the future? In your future?
Well, I'm going to go back to Afghanistan with the Final Combat Brigade, and Carlos will join me in June. So we'll have one last trip in with as the war winds down, and some of the people going back in are people in the film.
Right on. Well, we wish you luck with that.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much for being with us tonight. This is such a special film. It's got to be nice to have a film that actually tells your story where they're actually there and not big Hollywood actors doing it, right?
Absolutely. It's going to be so nice not having that Hollywood influence to it.
Yeah.
Real life just has such a meaning to it, and you can't express it any other way.
And how are you feeling these days? I know it's been rough.
It's another day, and I'm going to do great.
Yeah.
You know, another day above ground is another blessed day, and we're going to move forward, and we're going to do great things.
That's the best. I don't even know how to say it, but that's a wonderful way to look at it.
You've got to have an attitude of inspiration, and you've got to be moving forward, and you've got to be positive. With everything you do, no matter who you are, that's where it's at.
Hey, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Your measure's not found in how much time you have on this earth. It's what you do with the time that you have. These people have suffered for too long. Change the course of history. Ask him what this wire's for.
I don't like that at all.
I don't think you're Taliban.